Sal Distefano, arguably a true fat loss expert, actually exposes what 99% of people get wrong about fat loss, and it's probably that you're doing too much. Which sounds crazy, I know, but what is the right dose to actually get your body to change the fastest?
I've always really liked your tanning analogy, even though it's obviously an oversimplification of what's going on with exercise, and that is, but as far as the body's ability to adapt to a stress, it's a really good example of how easily you can overdo it.
It's a great analogy for a lot of different reasons, because number one, it does exemplify what you're saying, right? If your goal is to get a nice tan and you want to get it in a quick and efficient way, there's a right dose of sunlight. Any less than that would happen slower. Any more than that, and you would just cause more damage your body can recover from and tan from. And if you push it too far, you just get a sunburn. And if you get a sunburn, you don't get a tan any faster. Anybody's ever had a sunburn will tell you don't get a tan.
Peel, and it's the whole process.
So tanning is actually a phenomenal example of this, but because of just this idea of too little equals some results, but you might be able to get more, and then too much, which is actually going to prevent you, it's going to set you back from actually getting the progress that you want. Now, what I need you to remember is that these guys trained average people. I mean, people like us. Jobs, families, life stressors, a lot of things going on.
It is important to explain why your body changes in the first place with exercise. Why does it build muscle? Why does it burn body fat? Why does it improve my health? All of those things that I just mentioned are adaptations to stress. Whenever you stress yourself out with a stressor, your body, so long as it's within the realms of its capability, aims to adapt to that so that that stressor is no longer a stressor. Understanding this, now you start to kind of see why more isn't better. Because if you overwhelm your body's ability to adapt by just damaging or causing too much stress, none of those adaptations will occur.
But what constantly gets glorified on social media and just on the internet in general is this whole idea of, like, you know, do the 75 hard, insane amounts of CrossFit, super disciplined, you know, like the David Goggins approach. But that is honestly where you're gonna get burned, and it's gonna cause your results to suffer because our body can only handle so much fatigue. And fat deposits are actually, they're there so that we can survive. So when the body's in a high stress state, it's going to want to hold on to fat. It's an insurance policy. And a lot of people think this just means physical stress, but it's not just physical stress. The mental stress that we have in our lives adds to our overall systemic fatigue on our body, and it will hinder your fat loss. So this is actually what we need instead.
You know, I say it on the podcast all the time, and this is a perfect opportunity to really unpack it for the audience. The goal is to do as little as possible to elicit the most amount of change. Right. But why is that true? Why is it true that we want to do as little as possible to elicit the amount of change? Like, why not do a little more than that? What I would start by saying is that we can always keep adding more volume and more intensity. And going back to the tanning analogy, it's like you getting out and getting 5 minutes of sunlight may not get you the exact dark color that you want, but it's going to head you, and you're going to go in the right direction. You most certainly aren't going to
set you back.
It's not going to set you back.
All right, this is my life's creed. I, years ago, thought that you just couldn't transform your body. I couldn't look the way that I wanted to because it took way too much time. And honestly, that's really why I didn't start my journey until I was into my 30s. But if I can do it with 2 and now 4 kids, and I'm still doing it, then you absolutely can do this. Now, the reality of me discovering this is that it was actually out of necessity because I just didn't have time. I didn't have that much time to put into it, so I put into it the little bit that I could. So I started seeing the most changes when I actually got to a point where I had to reduce my training load. I just had to do less because I didn't have time. My family had to come first, and this had to come second. But that was actually when I saw the most amount of progress transforming my body and losing fat. And as the years went on, I just saw more and more the power of this, and it was shortly after that that I stumbled onto Mind Pump and heard them coin this phrase, and it honestly rings so true.
Do the least amount of work to elicit the most amount of change. To put it differently, the perfect dose. If you were to look at a chart, if I were to make it kind of a graph here.
Titrating your way
on the very left would be no exercise at all. You're doing nothing. On the very right would be the absolute most amount of exercise that your body can tolerate before it becomes dangerous. Somewhere in the middle is the perfect dose. Going closer to the most you could tolerate doesn't get you there any faster. If anything, it gets you there slower. Each time you move away from perfect, you get results slower. If you move towards the right a little bit and you keep moving in that direction, you compromise your body's ability to adapt because now your body's just concerned with healing.
And what complicates this even more is how people will approach their health and their fitness when it actually becomes a problem. It actually becomes an issue where they can't run, they've got heart problems, they got a bad diagnosis from a doctor. That's when they start thinking about this. And you possibly have been in this same situation where once you get this information, it'll change the way that you approach your fitness, and you may actually be approaching it wrong. So typically what happens, someone gets this kind of diagnosis or something wrong, or they're just not able to run and keep up with their kids, climbing up the stairs, can't breathe, normally they're breathing heavy. And so they go balls to the walls. They throw everything at it but the kitchen sink. This, truly my heart goes out to people who want to do that because props to you, you're getting after it. So it's understandable. But the problem is that it's also unsustainable. So what do you think typically happens? I mean, people quit. They give up. It's just like John Acuff, the author who wrote All It Takes Is Goal. It's just like he wrote in that book where he's talking about getting easy wins. You want to start with easy goals. What's the easiest thing that you can get right away? Because that's going to fuel the fire and get you way further than you actually realize. Now, when you pick that easy goal, it's going to sound like not enough. Like, let's say, do 1 exercise a day. Work out once a week. Try to find 15 minutes 2 times a week to do some weightlifting. I mean, just you react to me saying that. It sounds like not enough, right? But I promise you, from my own journey and my clients' journeys, it takes way less than you actually think. The things that you gotta do is just focus on the big rocks, the things that actually matter. We can get so caught up in the weeds and just trying to beat our bodies into submission during our exercise. We lose sight of what we actually need to be doing. So don't think about working out every day. Think about once, twice, max like 3 times a week. Just start small and you can scale it from there, because that's what's going to create this safe environment where your body actually wants to let go of fat because, wow, you're treating me well. I'm getting stronger. I'm fed well. I'm getting enough protein. I'm getting enough water, enough sleep, all of those things, and you're gonna blow yourself away. One of my clients in particular has been amazed at just the changes that she's seen and how her clothes are fitting in a fairly short period of time. And she's eating more than she's ever eaten. She's sleeping better than she's ever been sleeping. And she's only training, get this, about 3 times a week, sometimes less, for like 15 minutes. 15 minutes each time she works out. But the crazy thing is all of this actually hinges on figuring out which type of person you are. So are you the type of person that when you get on a health kick, you go all at it, but then you're an on and off type of person? You go all at it and then you quit, and then all at it and then you quit. Or are you actually the type of person that is trying really hard but just can't seem to string several workouts in a row together, where you just keep falling off the bandwagon? But regardless of how you actually answer that question, this video right up over here is going to show you the major problem that stops most people from being able to get consistent results. And it's actually easier than you think. And as always, go get strong, but first just go give your kids a hug like I'm about to go do, because frankly, I think family matters more, and I will see you over there on the next video.